Seems like I'm always working on projects that need hinges. The hinges I'm working on today are going to be fairly simple, but they are going to be long. I'm not going to do any fancy scroll work or chiseling, anything like that. These are going to be very basic hinges. The gate they're going on is the thing that I want to stand out, not the hinges themselves. For these, I'm starting with some 1/4 by 1.5, so it's about 6 mil by 38 mil, something like that. And these right now are cut 44 inches long. So that's a little over a meter, but that length is completely irrelevant if you need hinges for a different project. And I'm probably going to trim these before I'm done to make sure they fit just right. I cut them a little longer than I think I need. Step one is to roll the eyes on these hinges. When you're doing that, it helps to have a bevel on the end. You can forge the bevel on the end, you can grind the bevel on the end. But I'm going to go ahead and cut that bevel, and I'm going to cut it hot since I got to heat it up to forge the eyes anyways. And for that, I'm using a little tool I can use under the power hammer or the treadle hammer. I think I'll do this under that K75 striking hammer just because it seems like an ideal use for that tool. But this is a 45-degree cutter, and it has a flat spot on each end so you can't accidentally drive it into your power hammer dies, and it just cuts that end off. It's a single-purpose tool. It's 1.5 inches wide, so I can't do any wider hinges than this. This is something that I've done so many of, it was worth making this tool. I'm going to go ahead and light the forge, get these hot, and then we'll be on to rolling the eyes, and pretty much everything else for these hinges is going to be done by hand at the anvil. Now I'm ready to go ahead and roll the eyes. This is a place where the thinner side face on the Big Blue anvil is going to come in real handy. And I have this radius, so it pretty well matches a 3/8 hinge eye, which is what I'm going for. As I start these, I start with the bevel up, so I'm going away from the bevel as I roll this. And that helps tuck that in and make a nice clean eye. When doing an eye like this, you don't want to just hammer in one spot. You'll end up creating little flat spots, kinks, and you won't end up with a nice round eye. Keep an eye on where it needs to go and adjust your hammer blows accordingly. Also remember that after that first eye, your hinge pin is hot, so pick it up with a pair of tongs. With the eyes done, I'm going to switch back to my main anvil that is more solidly mounted and doesn't have the big resonating chamber under it. Still something I need to take care of. Here I'm using a tool I made up to help guarantee the eyes get tucked in tight and rolled up nicely. And this tool works best on this combination of materials and eye diameter. Someday I'll make a few more of these for different combinations of materials and eyes. This little tool is essentially a scroll starter on the front, ideal for half-penny scrolls, and the scroll starter would work for this. But it also has the addition of a swedge on the top that is just the right diameter, and this really helps if you're having any irregularities or oddities. But you really should get the eyes as perfect as you can before going to a tool like this. That does give us a very neat hinge eye with the end nicely tucked in. With the eyes forged, it's time to go on to the only decorative element on this hinge, and that is a forged bevel. So I'm going to try and do a nice job getting a clean, pronounced bevel forged on the edges of these. People often ask about the side face on the anvil. This is just another example of where it comes in handy, effectively giving you a wider anvil for better support of the piece you're working on. These long straps do get pretty floppy, and it's nice to have that extra support. By turning the eye down and tipping this up to create my bevel against the face of the anvil, I'm less likely to damage the eye while I'm working on that end. It also creates a little bit smoother bevel, and it's not a bad idea to do that for the entire thing as you get close to your finished goal. Now I want to let these cool so I can turn them around and work on the other end. Now I'm not worrying about the very end of this. I've cut these a little bit long. They're almost certainly going to need to be cut down a little bit. Then I'll put the bevel on the end. So I need to let these cool down again. Then we can take them inside to the wood shop and check the length and figure out the placement for the screw holes. So I need to get the length for the hinge, which isn't much too long, but just a little too long. And then I need to mark for all of my bolt holes. This is going to be through bolts. I want 2 per board, and there are 4 boards making up this gate. These will get 5/16 bolts, and I'm drilling 1 drill bit size larger than that. First, I'll take the time to go through the countersink and just knock any burrs off the edges of the holes. Now is the time to do any last minute straightening. Check it for bends this way and bends that way. And don't forget to check for twists. Now, if you're paying attention, you notice that I didn't put a finish on these, and that's because this gate is going to get a pine tar finish. That's becoming one of my favorite wood finishes. I really like the way it looks, and it's fairly simple to apply, although it does take a while to dry. And when we were in Norway several years ago, we went to a stave church, and not only was the wood finished in pine tar, but all of the ironwork on the doors was finished right along with the wood. And that's a style I wanted to explore and see what it looks like to just go ahead and finish the iron and the wood all together. I'll need to put pine tar on the back of the hinge before I mount it, then I'll mount it, and then we'll just finish the gate just like normal, but the hinges will already be on it. That's a subject for another video when I actually get the gate finished. Now, these hinges will need pintles to hang from, and I'm still going to need to do that, and they're going to need some bolts. I'm going to make some big round-headed bolts. They'll look like clavos, and those will actually show on the opposite side of the gate where there's some wood carving, and those will come through the gate and through the hinge on the inside of the gate. Again, that should all make sense when we get the entire thing finished and hung up. Now, I do want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by to watch today's video, with a special thanks to my channel members and my Patreon patrons. Channel members receive early access to the videos, usually a day or two early, while Patreon patrons not only receive early access, they receive the videos ad-free over on Patreon. And those are the patrons at a certain contribution level and above. Patreon is a paid membership site. But because of that, I can run the videos ad-free, don't have to worry about algorithms. You get to watch what you want to watch without an algorithm telling you what it thinks you want to watch. So if you're interested in ad-free videos or any of the other perks over on Patreon, I invite you to check that out. But again, thank you everybody that watches these videos. I really appreciate it. I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next video.